What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 5 of the LA Report with your co-host, Eris Morrison, Linjo Kilo.
Yes, sir.
Today we got another special guest in the building, our frat brother, chapter bruh, entrepreneur, Maul.
What's going on with y'all, man?
Not much. Maul, let the people know what you do, man. Like, you're current podcast host, man. You're an entrepreneur in the cannabis industry, man. Let the people know.
So this is y'all fifth episode. This is gonna be my 12th episode of He's an On-Time Guard. Found on all streaming platforms that podcasts can be found on. I started that this year kind of on some just like, man, let me stop bullshitting. I had the time, and then Rona hit, and then I really cranked it up. But it kind of had been brewing for a little bit. You did mention I am a legal trapper of such. I am the trapper of the Bouqe paper, rolling paper in the DC area. I'm one of the members of that team. I'm the brand director for the company. So getting the product out there in the people's hands, man, and getting it out there in the people's hands and ultimately in the people's lungs. So you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my move.
For sure. So where can we find your papers, man?
Man, we are right now. You're gonna have to go online at rollingBouqe.com to get some. We're still in stores. We're in a lot of dispensaries and a lot of stores, but you know they don't have. You're not able to go in a lot of places yet, and that's like doing curbside. We're also in all your 7-Elevens and BP gas stations on the not Bladensburg, Benton Road area.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, man. So for this episode, we wanted to talk about the state of the black man, and and of course the state of the black community in relation to the police. You feel what I'm saying? So off air, Maul brought up a lot of good points that we wanted to bring on the podcast about the police in our community. So, with that said, we want to give it back to Maul to explain his idea.
Well, one of the things I was talking about today on Instagram was just that, we have a lot of. I've never been harassed by a black cop. I mean, by a white cop. I've only been harassed by black cops, right? Like all my life as a native Washingtonian, growing up in the city, all types of stuff like that. I've honestly never been harassed by a white cop. So why do black cops feel the need to police black people so hard? That was kind of a question. And I was like, I ain't got no beef. I ain't beefing with nobody. I'm just asking, like, what is it that makes them feel like they have to police us so hard? Like the aggressive overseer mentality or something. I don't feel as though that is needed in the community. So yeah, that was kind of the point. And, I ain't really get a lot of answers. I got more people that agreed with me and was like, yeah, like, I ain't, why? I got pulled over last week and the dude pulled a gun out on me, and he stopped me for a tail light or something. You're like, damn, like, is that warranted? But
No, for sure. And I really want to take a deep dive. Well, probably not now, but a little later. But like, maybe I wonder what the psychology of a black cop is, especially in today's time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
like how does it feel to be a black cop in today's time, where people are looking at you as if you're Uncle Tom, just because that's the career path you chose? Like, how do you discern when to use aggression? How do you discern when not to use aggression? How do you, avoid being looked at as Uncle Tom and stuff like that? So, prior to some other episode, we got to bring on a cop just to come in and talk about their perspective.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I personally, prior to this year, had never, been driving. In my driving years, had never been pulled over. Both times happened to be during this coronavirus pandemic. Both times were by two white officers. One was for some bullshit. Got pulled over for being in the middle of the crosswalk. Another time, they said something was going on with the tags or some shit. But both experiences, obviously having to adhere to the different set of the different standard when being pulled over, specifically by white cops. It wasn't, I'm not trying to minimize it. It wasn't obviously it's never pleasurable being pulled over by any Fed, but it wasn't a terrible experience as far as them demeaning me or disrespecting me in any way. And so when you talk about like kind of maybe that dichotomy between, like why do we seem like black cops kind of more or less put their foot on our necks with us a little bit more as a community, I would, guess that has a lot to do with some of their own personal experiences that you brought up, Linjo. Maybe the fact that people look at them as being an Uncle Tom, a sellout, you know what I'm saying, or things of that nature, depending on the type of group of people that they're dealing with. There's certain segments of our community that can be a little bit more loose with the lips as far as the disrespect is concerned to them. So maybe that has a role to play in them feeling like they have something to prove, and somehow using that to project onto all black folks that they deal with, when they should understand that they kind of bear a stronger responsibility in actually tearing down a lot of what goes on between police and their community. You know what I'm saying? They already know that people in our community are already on edge whenever you mention cops to us. Obviously, what's going on in the world today reflects that. And so, you would hope that, cops in our communities that look like us do a better job at relating with the circumstances that we have to deal with. Unfortunately, we have to recognize that, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and that, it's going to be guys out here that look like us that's not going to have our best interests at heart. And so it definitely creates a fine line for them to kind of walk.
Yeah, but like you hit the nail on the head, like straight up. Um, your skin folk ain't your kin folk. You know what I'm saying? And when we see these images of black cops harassing us. Like we got that in Boys in the Hood with that scene. Like that was a really powerful scene, and seeing it now, the thing that's crazy is like I remember when we had cops like in the like neighborhood cops or like people that was from here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people that the police officers that was like literally from here that like you might have they might have grew up in the city, but they were from here though. You know what I'm saying? So they had a
Mm-hmm.
different style of policing because it was like, dog, I will call your mother if you know what I'm saying, something or whatever. And it's like, oh man, you ain't gotta lock me up, but I ain't trying to deal with my mom's. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's cool. Like it was like that. Like we don't have that anymore. Like you like, where you from, officer? I'm from Idaho. And you like, oh shit. Like I know you ain't dealt with go-go before, like a go-go crowd. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you look at these officers now and they look like gumps, dog. Like they look real like they don't belong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's a part of the issue. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't even look like y'all belong here, dog.
No, and to piggyback off your point, I think that right there is a very, very powerful thing that people don't necessarily take into consideration is that a lot of the police, at least nowadays, don't reflect the communities that they serve.
Yeah,
You feel
at all,
me?
at all.
And that right there is a big issue. Like you said, like being from an area, you have an intrinsic sense on how things operate. Like you said, like being able to manage a go-go crowd, being able to know how to talk to people, like knowing the sense of your environment. But you take, like you said, a square from Idaho, put them into, let's say, southeast, northeast, Benton Road area or whatever. How
Everybody
able
shot.
to maneuver in that space unless they're being aggressive, unless they're trying to assert their authority a certain kind of way, and that's where the conflict, sometimes starts. I feel like we did a better job of making sure that the people that police us are from where we're from, then we can have better outcomes moving forward.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like that honestly serves on two streets though, because I'll be the guy that say it. I got a police officer, one of my classmates' fathers. He did some Bama shit before. You know what I'm saying? And he's now retired. I saw this man in Walmart the other day, and I honestly wanted to beat the shit out of him. Just on the like, remember that faking you was doing? So it plays in two, you know what I'm saying? In honestly two ways, because it's like after a while, you're not going to be able, especially if you're in the community. Like if you're in the community, you're not going to be able to play this role for all your life. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to be the tough guy all your life. Like, and that's not really needed either. Like I don't feel like that's ever needed to get your point across. Like, you know what I'm saying? If some shit has happened, I've seen it where it's been more on the other side where, like, the compassion wins 9 times out of 10. You know what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you. That definitely is a niche that isn't addressed either. It's like, once we get to a point where the people that police us are from our communities, how do we avoid them from abusing their authority to the point where they alienate those that they serve? And that should never be the case. I feel like, police and the people should almost be in unison. Once you start to alienate folks, you get what we have now. You know what I'm saying? With the
Yeah.
protests and the rioting. I don't like saying rioting. The protests and people feeling a way towards police, and now that makes their job harder. It makes our lives harder in terms of how we deal with them. So, it's a very interesting topic to discuss. You know what I'm saying?
Can I ask y'all both a question? Like,
What's up?
what do you think is really going to come from like this? Like the protests, the every like what do you think that what is going to come from? Like, do you think that this makes honestly a difference? Like, it'll make a difference, or will this just be another, you know what I'm saying, T-shirt moment, and then we'll go back to because I'll tell you also what I think as well, but I want to hear y'all thoughts.
So I would say this feels different. I'm not ready to go to the stretch to say that it will be different. I would say that it feels different from a global impact standpoint. I'm not really sure why this particular incident with George Floyd, his murder, kind of sparked, um, the global outpour that it has. I'm definitely not disappointed that it has, but I think only time will tell. I think that as Black folks, like I posted on my social media, it has been more important to hear more white folk speak up and out about it, particularly our generation of young white folks, because they're the ones that are going to be part of the new world, if you will, that kind of really either heeds what we're saying and helps put into practice and into law things that make it even for all people, regardless of race. So I think it's been important for them. But I think as Black folk, I mean, the ball is always in our court. I mean, we're always in a position to do whatever we feel in terms of making this turning this moment into a consistent movement. And I think that the only way for that to happen is for us to understand how to really go about making these things realities. Like, it's not enough like protesting and everything. The attention has been great, but like they say, now what? Signing petitions and all of that stuff is great, but I think there's a level of political savvy that we have to kind of get into. And I know a lot of people don't really like to hear those things. I know that's not popular, but like this book that I was reading yesterday. I kind of touched on it on IG Live when it says Obama political calculation was his strong suit. And I think that's got to be all Black people's strong suit to believe to me, like political calculation, understanding how we need to be able to move to get where we need to get and put the right people in place. I think only educating ourselves at a city, local, state level about those things, I think is truly the only way that we're going to see these changes. Because otherwise, and through voting, obviously, but otherwise, I don't really see if that doesn't change, I don't see much changing.
Nah, for sure. I definitely agree, man. I definitely agree. Gaining a political stronghold is the key. And to answer Maul's question about what I think happens next, like you said, Eric, too. It's too early for me to really give an opinion, but what I don't want to happen, I can say that I don't want this to be like, oh, we get all up in arms, and then once outside opens up, we forget about George Floyd, and next, we chilling and going to party, and we forgetting everything that we didn't work for. For example, like yesterday, they said we had some of the highest voting numbers for primaries in a couple elections, which is great. But I'm like, okay, let's keep that same energy because it's easy to vote once everyone's saying it. But once people are quiet, when nothing's going on, are we going to be still have the awareness to get shit done? Kind of like Obama said today on this town hall, man. We have to combine both. We have to combine the protests and the political awareness. You have to combine both in order to move forward, man. We can't just have one and not the other. So I really hope that people take this as a wake up call to make sure that they're always involved in their politics, always making sure that they're involved in their communities, so that we can start to make change and have a better outcome for us and our kids down the line. You know what I'm saying? God willing.
Man, that shit is cute. You know what this is, bro? Niggas is bored, dog. They don't have nothing to do. You ain't been doing shit since March the 13th or the 21st, whenever they really kick they shit off in your certain whatever the hell it is, your job or the arena, whatever you was doing. That's when the world fucking stopped. For real.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody has shit to do. We done played all the games that we have. We done got online and 2K'd it up and all other things else. This shit, I will say this, if nothing else, I believe everything is timing.
Right.
This is the perfect time for a total fucking meltdown, if nothing else. And I think, and I hate to say it and see it, but I think this might be the start of it, though, because you got to think. I was talking to who was I talking? I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, real quick, everybody want to go down there." I was talking to my neighbor. My neighbor like, "Yeah, his wife." She like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go down there and do the protest." I'm like, "For real? They must be doing Lysol like sprays or something." Like, you know what I'm saying? And she was like,
Mm-hmm.
"What you talking about?" I was like, "Slim, you know we still in the middle of a motherfucking pandemic. Like we're not even we haven't flattened the curve as they like to say, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we still literally the numbers is going. So like and it's also why they stop talking about corona? It's like the protest the only thing that's going on. Like you go on the news right now, you ain't getting shit about corona like that. You getting the numbers of protests. Oh, well, there's a fire on 14th Street. Okay, we know that. Like, what's up? The Rona just leave? Like
Yeah.
this shit don't make no sense, dog.
Yeah, dog. That shit is definitely tricky, bro. Like you said, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and I can agree that people being home for so long definitely adds to the amount of frustration that we're seeing.
Hell yeah,
You
nigga, I would
know,
protest some shit if I got to stand this motherfucker another 3 weeks, and I ain't no protesting dude.
you know what I'm saying? No, I definitely feel you, man. And it's kind of an interesting point too. You brought up like, how the media just stopped talking about coronavirus as if coronavirus is gone. Like that shit. Like you said, we in the thick of things right now. We only 3 months in. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and
go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
oh, no, I was going to say, I mean, and it's important to point out, it still only disproportionately affects Black folks who
Exactly.
are allowed
Woo.
out there protesting, and like, you know, even if your immune system is strong, a lot of people don't realize. We had Randy on the show um, Monday, and he was speaking of the type of stress, these different types of stress loads that Black people we are inherently kind of absorbing due to our conditions, and that stress load, even if your immune system is high, stress load, that cortisol
That
level comes into your
that
body,
that
weakens
weakens your
your
immune
immune system.
system.
Yeah, and people ain't out there wearing those masks. I mean, it was 90 something. What they said it was supposed to be 90 degrees. I
Dog, it
don't know
was
if it really got there
96
today.
today, dog.
What?
Yeah, and people out there. Yeah, people was out there. I know they didn't have those masks on because you can't
Come
breathe
on,
with the
man. You
mask
ain't
on.
breathing with that mask on, dog. You can't breathe
Yeah,
and yell Black Lives Matter at the same time. One of them got to stop. And in this instance, niggas is taking the mask off. So this is all I'm saying. And I ain't trying to turn this into the you know what I'm saying, the LA conspiracy report. But if you already was disproportionate numbers related, in the Black community to COVID, now you have protests where you get more Black people, and now all you're doing is actually exposing these people. Because I believe there's a lot of people that's asymptomatic. Like you know what I'm saying. Y'all know my grandmother was sick earlier, and after the fact, we believe my grandmother had corona. So
Mm-hmm.
seeing all of this now, like, I believe this shit is definitely real, but at the same time, this sure does work in somebody's favor. Because if a whole lot of other people get it, if we get a what they want to say a second wave, if we get if we get a second wave of people, because y'all remember when it wasn't nothing but like 100 people in the area that had it. It was like 40 people in Maryland, 25 in Virginia, another like 15, like, you know what I'm saying, in DC. It wasn't no real numbers. Then one day we turn up and it's like 5,000
Yeah.
throughout the area.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And then you look again and you like, wait a minute, these numbers are starting to get stupid. So we've had 2 weeks when people feel as though that they are better. But now you have these issues that come out, and then they want to go out in the public and then do in protest, and you yelling, and you coming in close contact. I ain't see no social distance protesting.
no, that's real.
No, that's definitely real, man. And like you said, with the virus being asymptomatic, that's really like the scariest thing about it is like, what are the long term effects? You know what I'm saying? Like you may have it and not have any symptoms, and then what happens? You just have it for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like what happens? So that's definitely the part that leaves you uneasy. But they kind of like how Eris and I was talking. I think it's in episode 2 or episode 3, when we were like, you get to a point where you have a double edged sword with the economy and with health.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like the
and
the no, go ahead.
that's what I was gonna say. Is that's more. I, I am glad you're saying this because I didn't want to lead into being like, yo, in there are 4 things that honestly has to keep your country moving. Your economy, you know what I'm saying, is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
The voting, right? Like being able to vote, just democracy. Period. Democracy is at an all-time shitty level. Well, the disenfranchisement for just for areas, right? So did you see voting yesterday? Like some lines were like 6 hours. I know Scoop was online for like 6 hours.
Yeah, I saw it on his Instagram, bro. That was kind of crazy.
It was people that was in line
Yeah,
for 4 hours. Some people didn't get out of the line to like 1 something last night. I was down southeast, like on Alabama Avenue, 12 o'clock in the morning, trying to vote. That ain't safe, dog.
Nah,
Not at all. Not at all. I went the
no.
day before yesterday and wasn't nobody in there. I had went after my workout and walked up around was that Malcolm X Elementary School, and yeah, wasn't no line, wasn't barely anybody in there. And I guess, just that pressure that was put on via social media. Like I said, I mean, there's so many people out here doing things for different reasons. And like I said, I always say you can't measure what's in somebody's heart. You know what I'm saying? What somebody truly feels. You know what I'm saying? People do shit for different reasons. You hope that it's the right thing, but I mean, so I'm not gonna question it. But now you're definitely right. The coronavirus, like for me, it's always been like, I totally understand and agree with the fact that this virus is something that is to take very seriously. But I also feel like, because of the lack of leadership that we've had and that we still continue to have, obviously starting at the executive level, it's up to people to kind of just use their common sense on their own. It kind of puts the onus on people, and a lot of people don't have common sense. I mean, obviously, you got white people who, before all this shit went down with another killing of George Floyd and whatnot, protesting, swinging machetes at police face on Capitol grounds because they want to go get fucking haircuts and shit and all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And
Which is
so
that's a whole nother.
that's yeah, that's a
That's a
whole
whole
nother
nother show right
yeah,
there.
for sure. But you got shit like that that's going on, man, and you just say to yourself, like, like at some point for us, it's all about being smart. If people don't want to wear masks, you ain't gotta wear a fucking mask. I mean, in terms of like that's just how you live your life. My thing is it's simple. You around people, you wear a mask, and is no there's really nothing we can do. Like the way our society has been built upon, it requires us to interact with each other to a certain extent where we're close proximity. I mean, not granted, the world we knew before this shit is pretty much done. Schools is about to change. Everything is changing in terms of how close you're willing to get to somebody. Like the whole
Yeah.
club business is you know, the
It's,
whole club business is really shot. I mean, I don't think people realize how close people were in clubs prior
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah, dog.
prior to this pandemic. So,
I mean,
uh,
I mean, nah, I agree with you, bro. Like, especially when it comes to the club stuff. But I was gonna make a point earlier. There's a dilemma in America when it comes to the economy versus healthcare, where healthcare is one of the biggest drivers of the economy, but people have to have jobs to make money to pay
To pay for healthcare.
for health.
exactly.
And we're trying to do a better job of not giving the healthcare system too much that they can't handle at one time by keeping people home. But at a certain extent, you almost have to have people go outside and work. So I think now we are starting to come to that conclusion, which is why a lot of states are starting to say, you know what, let's just beef up testing and phase up and try to get open by the end of the summertime. You know what I'm saying?
That's one of the points that you gotta have, as
Yeah,
well as your health care. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have your health care, your the state period is done. Your country is done because now you cannot take care of your citizens. We are there. We are there, man.
Nah,
We
that's
just
facts.
like and I said and I kept saying I said, dog, I just don't want to see it, but I can't. You can't unsee the shit. We here now. Our president is on some nuts. Oh shit.
that nigga definitely wilding, bro. Nope.
Like no nigga, you can have a lids. There is not enough cap that this nigga that you can do for this man, dog. Like he is capped. Just he's lunching, dog. Like straight up. Him
Yeah,
pulling him pulling the Hitler picture out yesterday.
Yo, I was like, yo, what's up with this nigga, dog? Yo, Trump be tripping, bro. And it's funny because Trump has been tripping since the beginning, bro.
Since day one, yeah. Since before day one. So
mean, you no, go
Trump
ahead.
is a big trick.
nah, it's just amazing. Like, and it's just amazing to me that you have people that are followers of Trump, and it's like, you know how fucking nuts you gotta be to follow somebody else that's fucking nuts.
I'm telling you, it's 100% delusion, bro. Delusion.
It's delusion is like these people, these because it all started with the Tea Party, right? Like before when we started getting like radical left type shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Tea Party merged into the Republican Party, and then it got really left when it was already going left. It went stupid extreme, and then that's when we started getting. Now we got this alt right and all this other crazy shit. Like all that to say, this stuff now has a home, and it's more seen in the country because you have the president that is for it. Until this man said that the people in Charlottesville were pretty nice guys. Like they were pretty good people. They were really good people. But the other people protesting the murder were thugs and all this other shit. Like it's plain at this point. It's black and white.
Oh yeah.
What's scary is to think, like, if you're being honest, a lot of people don't, like, when you think about Trump, right? Like, what's scary is to think I don't even think Trump really believes in all the shit that he really says. I really
No.
don't even know that he don't. I don't even think he gives a fuck. I think he literally, his quote that people don't pay enough attention to was, if I ever run for president, you should run as a Republican because they're just a bunch of stupid. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but they're just like a bunch of dumbasses. Like they'll vote for anything. You could just rile them up. And Trump understands, like I said, he understood how to win and play the game. And, Trump is literally speaking to one group of people. That group of people he saw when he was running for president, that those were the people that gravitated towards him, because people got to remember, Trump isn't a politician. He
Right.
didn't come in like owing, like how all these other politicians, they end up owing some type of like political swing to a specific party. Trump said he was a Republican, so it was just what it was. He didn't owe Republican shit though, from the standpoint of being like, I'm not even into this shit. I'm just running, and
Right.
like I'm just in the mix now, and now I'm the president. So I'm running my play. I'm running this my agenda, basically how I got in this motherfucker. So I don't have to and the people that got me in are the same. Like people forget, like the people his his voter is a white man over 50 years old living in some rural part of the fucking America with no education, making like 50 grand. And niggas white people that use the phrases like good old days and shit like that. Like that's his camp. That's who he just be speaking to. So all that racial shit, that's all it is. Old white people and like their racist ways, 50 years old. Like the reality is that's who he got. And a lot of Republicans, you know what I'm saying? Some Republicans, they just feel the same way. He's like the buffer. He's like the microphone that a motherfucker wish they could say. Like a motherfucker be thinking some shit in their head
Yeah.
and he just say it out loud. And so they like, a lot of motherfuckers, you gotta be diplomatic in how you respond to shit. But he just says some of the things that they all be thinking. Like I said, Barack Obama becoming president was like the best and worst thing for this country. They could not stand seeing a black man in charge for 8 years. Like,
Right.
and people have to understand that about Obama. Like Obama takes so many shots, and he just never like. I would love to sit down with President Obama and like really talk to this man unfiltered, like just get his perspective on things, because I know he has a lot of perspective on things or shit he wanted to say. Like I feel like he basically needed a break from America after he saw that niggas didn't go out and vote. And like I remember prior to him leaving, he was like, "Y'all need to go out and vote." He kept saying it. And then I think when he saw Trump win, he was like, "Y'all niggas did not get out and vote. I'm taking a break." Like it's like the Boondocks episode when MLK came back and MLK was like, "I'm moving to Alaska. Like I'm just out. Like y'all niggas figure it out." and then he has to come back and try to, like I said, this man is the former president doing us fucking giving us a speech right now on like on some shit, and he's not even in office because the current guy, this is what he does. He has to stoke this fear. I mean, this is where we at in America, man, and it's a dangerous time to be a black man. It's always been a dangerous time. So I'm not even going to say it's a dangerous time. It's just as dangerous to me as it's always been. It's just being filmed, like I said, like that's the reality. And as black men, we got a lot to kind of like honestly catch up on. Like if we being 100, black women are like way surpass black men, if you ask me. If you keeping it a buck.
1000% agree.
Mm-hmm. If you keeping it a buck, like they are shit. Like I be thinking about, I'm gonna be honest with you, even as I'm looking at my own life, I be noticing how chicks when they graduate, they be like having a like I don't know, I just feel like this might be me, but women when they graduate, they be having like a legit plan. Like they be like, I'm about to go graduate when as soon as I get my bachelor's, I'm about to go to masters. I'm about like they just go from school to school like ASAP with the quickness. It's like they got a plan and it's just what it is. When niggas graduate, nigga be like, all right, so like this, I'm gonna figure what out. I'm gonna figure it out once I graduate. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the consensus for some, not all, for some. And I ain't going front. I was in the kind of like I figure out what I'm trying to do once I graduate. You know what I'm saying? At least I graduated. And it's like women have taken that same approach of just being like more so like running point and like as black men, we got to catch up because if, like I said, we being honest, we kind of weighing them down a little bit as far as like the progressive state.
Yo, bro, you hit the nail on the head, man. And I think a huge contributing factor is, you know, first of all, let me praise black women first, because black women are doing a great job out here, and we see you, and we appreciate y'all, and we want to make sure that y'all get your flowers. You feel what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
but on that same token is a lot of the, I guess, the downfall of black men, as like we all know, this has been by design. So black men have been emasculated and marginalized, such to a point similar to like in slavery, where they kind of like rob us of our manhood back then, but now they kind of rob us of our intellectual prowess now, so that they try to like keep us locked up and dumb us down, so that we don't have opportunities. Whereas they allow our women to flourish, and then that creates problems within the black man and black woman dynamic. You feel what I'm saying? Like that piece that you said, the same things that we praise our women for and we love them for, on a grand scale, that kind of contributes to the state of affairs between black men and black women now. Like you said, I feel like the shit can be solved if black men, we get on our high horse and just try to level ourselves up so that we can be as successful in the whole as our black women are. You feel what I'm saying?
Can I ask y'all a
Okay.
question though? What are y'all basing that on though? What like when you saying holding? Like, don't get me wrong. I agree with what y'all saying, right? To a certain degree. But what do you all mean? Like, are you just or speaking of success? Period.
I'm speaking more so like currently, like I mean, black men, we've kind of always been like throughout, like we've been like the I'm just speaking more so currently, if I'm being honest. Like
Right.
it seems like in today's times, like black women have kind of picked up the ball
Oh,
where to your
definitely.
point,
Right.
like
Right. Right. I feel with. I totally get what you're saying on that. Right. But
hmm,
but what I will say though is I think I I would say that our our sight on that subject is somewhat skewed, being as though that we're educated black men. That in that nutshell is a extreme minority.
Mm, yeah.
So
that's tough.
so when you're looking at it, like you know what I'm saying,
No, agree.
it's like you, you have seen the a a small aspect of, you know, the black life, right? To
Mm-hmm.
realize that your shit is a microcosm of a microcosm.
Yeah. So we're like the minority of the minority.
Right. You
Mm-hmm.
feel what I'm saying? So it's like that shit is like it's almost you can't help but see that. Right? So like I had to realize the other day on some really some real privileged shit that I ain't really think was real privileged shit though. Right? And it was literally around, so I was talking to a neighbor and I was like, yeah, you know, well, my frat. And then I realized I was like, damn, dog. Like he was like, oh, like, you know, like y'all be doing stuff. Like I see like pictures and like community stuff. And I was like, yeah, like we do a whole lot of shit in the community and blah blah blah. And he was just like, yeah, like I don't understand it. And he was like, well, why? Like, what are y'all doing it for? And I'm like, huh? And I didn't realize like this motherfucker really has no concept of what a fraternity is because he has never gone to school necessarily. He's never gone to, you know, in a higher education. So he doesn't have that part of it. That within itself is like us, that is a small portion, but there's so many other people that have never had that opportunity as well.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah.
That's real.
And
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, I feel you. So that's why I wanted to say, like, I feel you totally. You're right. You're right. Because all the drinks that I know doing dumb shit, they were, oh, I'm about to go get my master's and my doctorate at the same time because I'm just bored. And you're like, all right, Sean. That's
no,
Real
dope.
I
shit.
feel you. I
Like, you know
feel
what I'm
you.
saying? But when
I
you
feel you.
living in that small ass world, like, shit. Like a lot of these joints, dog, we still know youngers that we still know, and when I say youngers, I mean male and female. We still know youngers that's first generation college students in 2020.
No, that's real.
You feel me? So like that says something right there.
No, that says a lot, really, about how marginalized we have been in this country. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that we have people in 2020 that are first generation college students. That's crazy. Let's be honest. So let's say we've had some rights, quote unquote rights, since let's say 68, right? What's that? Almost 60 years. 60 years. We still have people that are just now, well, not 60, probably like 52 years. 52 years, and we still have people that are just now becoming first generation college students. So that right there, just that lack of higher education can speak to some of the minute details that kind of plague our community. You know what I'm saying?
Man, listen, my grandmother 95, dog. She literally told me, she said, boy, the Lord knew when to put you on this planet. Because if you came out any earlier, you might not have been here. Because you'd have had a problem. And
Right.
I was like, that's real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's real, Grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really real. Because I don't know how y'all did this. Don't use this water fountain. Motherfucker, I am thirsty. If you don't get the fuck out the way.
No, real shit.
Like,
Real shit.
don't sit on this seat. Okay, cuz. Yeah, okay. Like, I ain't gonna make it, bro. So knowing that, I'm glad that I came out the time that I had. Because, I mean, and in real life, I was talking to somebody the other day as well, like about, really experiencing racism. I mean, have I had some people? I said the worst thing that has ever happened to me was at work one time, and a motherfucker said I was trying to rush to get on the elevator, right? I was at NIH. That's the wildest shit. So I was at NIH. I'm rushing to get on the elevator. So I do little back drinks, but they doing construction. Dude say, No, ain't gonna be no niggas on this elevator. Hit the button. Right? I know they going to the bottom. We on like the 5th floor. Slim. I hit that side door and ran down to the bottom of that motherfucker. Them elevator doors opened up. I jacked that nigga up so smooth on the wall. Everybody like, oh my God. I was like, hey, Slim, what you say? Oh, man, you know, I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. But,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never experienced deep South racism.
Yeah. Nah, I feel you. Like, at Savannah State, I didn't necessarily experience it per se to me, but I've seen it where like how like the movement and the affairs of black and white people. I forgot the name of this street, but pretty much Georgia is like like almost divided in like two sides. You have the white, right? On the black side, you have, of course, most of the minority folks, low income people, Savannah State. On the white side, you have Armstrong University, and most of your higher income folks, of course, they're white. And the way that they interact with one another when you like see them in the store is almost like it's really shocking, and you almost have to like gasp for air to see how like these racial undertones are so prevalent where black folks are almost still subservient to whites in a way. Like even when you like see stuff in the Walmart, like
Nah, that's how that should be down there though, dog. And that's what I'm
you know,
saying. That should be wild.
shit, wild as shit.
And
Wild.
you've seen it, like you've seen it as a person who has grown up here to where for real, you're not getting no racism like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like if we keeping it a buck, if we're keeping it a buck, you're not experiencing racism to that level of I have never in my life seen a noose. I ain't never seen a noose though, like real rap. Like I mean, like
Mhm.
on a museum joint, or like you know what I'm saying. Like you go to one of them the wax museum in Baltimore or some shit like that. But like somebody putting a noose in a tree, no, I have never seen that. I've never seen
Right.
I've never seen a burning cross, a burning anything in anyone's yard. So like that is something that I'm like, damn, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? I'm very thankful, but I'm also aware that like there are certain types of racism that people aren't conditioned to, so they don't understand it. Do I know that corporate ass racism though? Like, but like that's the other side. It's like, do you know that professional racism?
Mm.
Like, yeah, you had to worry about sundown towns. I have to worry about a motherfucker going to Karen in HR because you don't like my African attire or something, or you feel as though that my hair is fucked up, or
Nah,
my beard is too long.
that's real shit. And I think to that point, like you know, black women really get it tough on that aspect because they almost have to like dumb down their blackness to such a level that they have to change the way they speak. They have to be mindful of their hair and nails, mindful of their attire. They can't wear something that's too tight where it looks like they're too curvaceous. When in reality, that's just their anatomy that they've been born with. So they can't help it. So it's crazy you say that because racism comes in so many shapes and forms, and you know we'll spend all day trying to dissect each and every form that's out there, but
Right.
it's definitely still real. It's definitely still prevalent, and I think us being from the Northeast, gives us a different vantage point and a different kind of opportunity. What I'm saying, to look at things from a different perspective. You know.
I, and I,
Right.
and like I said, I think it's just this area though. You know what I'm saying? Because when people go up like Boston racist is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like
Yeah. Yeah.
Philly. I don't know how Philly is. I guess people be saying stuff about Philly and shit, but like, I'm just saying, like, in this area where we were, raised, like, I don't, we didn't necessarily have, I didn't have to, you know what I'm saying? I'll speak for myself. It's like, I didn't necessarily see that racism like that.
No, they were saying that the other day was like a 30-year anniversary of the police in Philly bombing a black neighborhood.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Yes.
Bombs?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm like, dog.
Like that, and then the
That's wild.
Tulsa bombings,
Yeah.
the Tulsa riots and that shit.
Yeah, that was 99 years ago Monday. Yeah, they was, and that's where we, like again when we talk about, the state of black men in America, man, it's like to your point, more like, we come from like a segment of the populated, the educated population of individuals who at least have had, college experience and have graduated
Right.
college and have that behind us. And so, you know, I just think for us as black men, one thing for certain, like there needs to be more uplifting of each other. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talk like just supporting each other in terms of what we doing, what we got going on. Like, that's something that has to continue to be prevalent because I mean, like I said, reality speaks for itself. We get so much shit from every angle of our lives that it's important to show love and appreciation to your fellow, to your fellow brother when you can, you know what I'm saying? And again, like, all skin folk and kinfolk. So, it's like you walk that fine line of if a person ain't, you don't really mess with or fuck with a person, you keep it moving. But like I said, as black men, we have so much to offer. Like I said, we're such a dominant race that, it's apparent why they want to knock us off. They see what we represent. It's like we really just gotta kind of come together in a way that's gonna like really make shit happen. Like I said, the beauty of the black woman right now is that she's taking the forefront with like entrepreneurial ventures, which is the main thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you have your business with Bouqe. That type of shit is the shit we have to continue to really get on, like entrepreneurship. And it's okay. Like sometimes I know everything that's the wave right now for everybody, but like sometimes niggas need to know that they not a number one. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
okay that you might be a number two or a number three, but you might be best served as a number three. It's not always about
Dog, it's
like,
about,
oh, I
yeah,
gotta start my own
knowing your
business. Like
position and being able to play a position. And, you know what I'm saying? Like there's
exactly.
teams.
Like
Like I will say this: the movement for Bouquet don't roll without the squad that we have. You know what I'm saying? Like the team of people that we have are amazing. And that is the only reason we are able to do what the fuck we do. That's the only reason I'm able to wear these shirts and jackets and shit and go to places and talk to people and do all that stuff is because of the team. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I tell people off Bucks, I have been the person that did everything for a business before. That shit sucks. You know what I mean? We have a young lady that does accounting. Let me tell you what she don't never have to worry about. Me trying to motherfucking do account. Cause that ain't my gig. You know what I'm saying? Be okay with being able to play whatever position that you are, because your position is an integral position.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes.
Not for sure. And I kind of wanted to touch on this real quick. You know, when it comes to cannabis, especially minority cannabis business, and you probably know better than I do, but from the outside looking in, it looks as if you know they're trying to whitewash the cannabis industry, whereas people can go to jail for weed, but well, I say people, black people can go to jail for weed, but they can't sell that shit legally. You feel what I'm saying? And I wanted to get your opinion, like what is the state of affairs now when it comes to minority cannabis, and how are things moving to make sure that things are more equitable in that space?
Um, the state of cannabis for the black community is a very interesting place because we create so much equity. Um, but like you said, we also can't own businesses because a lot of places, like states that have medical marijuana, rather or recreational marijuana period, to just have a get your license right. Here go the bullshit. Say fortunately, I am blessed to never have had any just legal issues or nothing like that, right? So I can go do whatever the fuck I want to, right? But say you got a misdemeanor charge or some shit like that, or you got a weed charge, right? They caught you with seven grams of weed, and now you got this weed charge, right? Guess what? You can't get no fucking licensing or work in the cannabis industry.
Mm. Even worse, is
Mm.
it?
That's some wild shit, right?
Hold on. So you're saying that even if you have,
Like if you got a weed charge, you're not gonna pass the background shit.
oh, of
So
course,
it's motherfuckers selling weed forever.
damn,
You feel me? Like that's what they was doing. They was selling weed, and now they can't be a bud tender and sell weed because that's all they doing.
that's
That's
crazy. It's like,
crazy as shit, right?
no,
So I mean,
it's like, no,
no,
go ahead.
I was gonna say. So so right now, I think the biggest thing like I do, or what even with just Bouqe, what we try to do is in the stigma because that's the biggest thing about it, right? Like I posted a couple of clippings of just headlines. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at a lot, and it kind of goes along with a lot of the stuff like the police brutality and things of that nature. Like Philando Castile, they said that they smelled the weed smell in the car made the police fearful, right? So then somebody else's, you had another case where it was like Sandra Bland. They was like, oh, she was high on weed. Like they always bring weed as it's making these black people do all this crazy stuff. But if that's the case, then why are all these white people trying to get in the industry or they're in the industry doing this stuff? Like it's just a contradictory of it. Um, but like I said, we create a lot of equity. We make the shit cool. So you know what I'm saying? It's not like we can just like not like what I mean? Like we're a part of the culture. So like that's our biggest thing. Like even with us, just like we are part of the culture. We make the cannabis culture. Like what's cool? Like shit, I'm gonna tell you what's cool because I'm cool and this is what's cool and this is what I do and this is cool. So you know what I'm saying? Like that we as when I say we, I mean black people. That is us. That's what we do. You're a rapper. Like this whole thing. I remember when niggas wasn't even like when we was still on that hush hush. Then like Wiz Khalifa came out. Like people was like, "Oh, Wiz Khalifa." Like even with Snoop, like what I'm saying, Snoop, we all knew Snoop smoked weed, but it wasn't like when Wiz Khalifa came out. Like what I'm saying, like everybody was on that paper planes and all this type of shit like that. So it's like the then you look at it, I feel like it's just weed is a cross cultural thing. Like what I'm saying, you ever if you ever get a chance to go to the National Cannabis Fest. I don't never feel like I'm at the United Nations until I'm there. Because everybody smokes fucking weed. But the people, but we're not represented, I would say, in the industry, right, as much as we should. We got a couple of young folks doing got there, like, Hope, she owns Murray and Maine. She's in PG County. Got somebody in Philly. We got another brother in Philly, and there's some people. Like I believe they're like in Maine or so. They're in Boston, I think. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like we getting represented. We're starting to make moves, but not at the amount of our white counterparts. And it's just that because of the laws that we once had to deal with.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's a very good point that you bring it up, man. I think that that just speaks to the marginalization of black people is that even in new industries we are marginalized, although we have the biggest equity or we have a lot of equity, you know. But I'm definitely proud of Bouqe and proud of y'all,
I
man. I'm proud of
appreciate
all
it,
of y'all.
bro.
Most
I'm
definitely.
proud of y'all for making waves, man. Because I always say the best thing to do is just to jump out there and learn on the fly, man. On the job training is probably more valuable than anything you can study in a book.
Hey,
So
listen, I've learned how to do so much shit off of
I'm telling you, so
YouTube and everything else. Like I said, I did a flyer today. Did a one pager. I was like, man, I don't know how to do a product one pager. Let me take my ass on Google and get on YouTube University. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
that's
figure that shit out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause there's no excuses, especially if you want it, yo. Like, if you want it, I mean, this honestly was just a bunch of friends that, um, that do stuff, um, and have, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just had, just a bunch of friends that just do stuff, want to make a dope product, want to, and, and share that dope product. And I think that's what
mm-hmm.
really comes out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you meet us, we genuine people. We can have a conversation with us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cool. We just try to be cool folks, man, and just make a good product. And be well and represent black people well in the cannabis industry as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when we in the place. When Bouqe there, you definitely know we there. And we gonna do that shit all the time. But we also ride for the city too. So you know what I'm saying? Like, we DC's rolling paper. Like, if you got a rolling paper, you gotta be smoking Bouqe. You know what I'm saying? If you claim that you just for the city, like, so we gonna, you know what I'm saying? We gonna
Yeah,
ride for the
facts.
city. We gonna ride for black folk. We gonna just ride, period, because that's what the fuck we do. So I think that's the biggest thing, though.
That's real shit, man.
Yeah.
Real, real,
Yes,
So I mean,
sir.
so,
with that all being said, the last couple of minutes, I think I gotta ask y'all a question, and we said this at the beginning when we all got on, but on some real shit, how you doing, black man? Like, Eris, how you feel, man?
Man, I'm making it, man. Like, for me, I've had to limit my social media, uh, interactions is hard because it's like that's all we have really going on. In terms of, just, being feeling connected with us, still being in these semi quarantine situations. But I mean, meditation, working out, those things have helped me. But I'm making it, man. I mean, obviously, what's going on in the world, it's a lot to absorb, and at times it's really heavy. And I be just trying to remind myself that I can't really control the weight of the world. All I can do is really control myself, and I can't do anything to make anything better if I'm not in a mental space to do so. So I've been just limiting, social media interactions as much as I can. But I'm making it, man. You know what I'm saying? This shit ain't easy, but I mean, it ain't easy for nobody right now. And as long as you out here breathing, alive, you got your health, I mean, shit, I ain't gonna
Facts,
complain.
facts. Euro,
yeah,
how you
yeah.
feel, black man?
Um, I'm all right, man. This past week or these past like 7, I mean not 7, more like 8 9 days have definitely been a lot to absorb. You know what I'm saying? Like attending a funeral, having to deal with the stuff on social media. You know, of course, having to deal with like work stuff and school stuff. It definitely plays a toll if you let it. But kind of like how Eric said, man, you do a good job of detaching yourself and taking a mental break and allowing yourself to feel your feelings, but not allowing your feelings to take over, your day-to-day activities. I think you be better off. So I'm all right, man. I'm in there, man. I'm definitely grateful just to be alive, just to be here, just to be healthy, to be able-bodied, to be able to see, speak. Have all my faculties in order. So
Yeah.
can't complain, man. How about yourself?
Doug, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
brother.
good, for the most part. I'm very I had to do the same. I had to kind of detach uh from social media because it was just too much. Um it was just too much. You know what I'm saying? So I just was like I'm going to fall back because I saw myself about to either to be more of a lash out situation, or you know what I'm saying, or just like it was an anger situation because I just saw what people like. It was a lot of just people were saying stupid things because they were frustrated and not knowing how to direct anger and different things of that nature and just emotions. Um, so I was just like I just I kind of just I had some work to do too. So I put on. I've never been so inspired musically by J. Cole, except the last 2 days for some reason. Like I've been listening to J. Cole, and I did all the, what I'm saying, all the work and shit that I had to do, um, and I kind of just disconnected because I can't do it, bro. Like I really, you know what I'm saying. Like they killed that man. I somehow listened to the audio of it, and oh my gosh, like the audio is just the audio to me is worse than the visual because you're really hearing it and you're being able to visualize the pain, and you know that's just horrible. That man pleaded for his life, and that's a horrible situation. So I ain't want to do it. I just ain't want to be. And people just don't know what to say, and that's the bad thing. Like people just, it's like them weird things. Like what I'm saying, you don't really know what to say to nobody. Like are you good? That's all I've been asking people. Like are you good? You know what I'm saying? Like are you all right? Like say let's if you're not, let's figure this shit out. Cause don't nobody know what the fuck to say, man. You know what I'm saying? You just get just a ball of emotion.
That's that's big facts, man. It's I agree with you. I heard the audio. And man, like you said, that was heavy. It was definitely heavy, and it does create a sense of just anger and frustration, and like I said, sometimes, especially as Black folk, we deal with, like I said, so many stressors, and that's as we already on a day-to-day basis. It's you have to give yourself time to actually feel what you feel, and understand your feelings and emotions, and really process them. You know what I'm saying? It's so important because otherwise, man, that shit can just come out. Like I said, you could just be in the grocery store picking up some lettuce. A motherfucker white person walk by accidentally might get too close. You
Yeah,
might,
just
you
flip
know,
off, right?
flip off. I mean, you might spaz out. You know what I'm saying? And that's real because that's literally all you seeing. And it's not just white folks. I don't want for white people out there that might listen to our podcast to think that this is directed towards you. But it's important that you understand that the level of frustration this stems from a problem that we just continuously have seen. And like you said, that image along with that audio of a man pleading for his life, and the disregard for that man and his life, and obviously they just didn't even view him as human, and it's tough. You know what I'm saying? And I suggest all of you out there listening, take some time for you, man. Self-care is important. Don't let
Yeah, for
nobody tell
sure,
you
for
otherwise.
sure.
Big facts. Big thanks, man. And I think we'll probably leave it there, man. Maul, thank you
And I
again.
appreciate y'all.
Thank you
Yes,
again
thank
for
you.
coming on the show.
This
We appreciate you, man. Before you go, give everybody your Instagram tag and the Bouqe tag so they know where to follow you and find
Oh
you.
yeah, rolling bouquets on Instagram. I'm sorry, rolling underscore bouquets Instagram. That's BOUQES. Rolling, just regular rolling. And I am OGQJ on everything that you can possibly find me on.
For sure, man.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. This won't be the last time we have you on for sure.
Yeah,
Just the
definitely,
beginning.
dog. I appreciate
We
that. I
appreciate
like
you.
to really appreciate y'all for both being on. It's the on time guard. This was the crossover podcast. So you know what I'm saying. I wanted to get them on some other platforms as well. So that's why I wanted to have them brothers on the show, because they doing a lot of good shit, and let folk know where to find y'all at. Like, you know what I'm saying.
For sure, for sure. So we on Instagram and Twitter at TLAR_podcast. Right now we're streaming on Anchor and Spotify at VL.A.report. Yeah, man. Also subscribe to us on YouTube as well. We're going to be putting a lot of our audio on there from the episodes. The YouTube is the same, VL.A.report. So YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us, subscribe, and thank y'all for listening, man.
Yeah, man. Well, y'all brothers
Yes,
have a
sir.
good one.
Yeah,
YouTube, bro.
Yeah, man.
appreciate you, man. Y'all take it easy out there.